Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jordan of Voxhead Studios. Welcome. So, what have we done today? Well, I have just attended the 40k Gaming's Clash of Generals 2,000 point event. And firstly, I'd like to do a little review basically on this video of what my thoughts and feelings were for the day. Day didn't go as planned. We ended 3 losses in a row. Slightly the wrong army selection. Personally, you know, it's the way these things work. I mean, I should have probably focused on taking the Space Marine list I had. The Space Marine and Guard list together. I decided against it in the end, mainly because I didn't really have time. You know, I started getting the models built, but the time and effort to actually sit down and paint them, I wasn't going to get done in time. I barely got this army up and running for my 2,000 point event. So, anyway, and plus the other option was that I wasn't able to run the list I really wanted to do, which was a downside as well. So, anyway, Clash of Generals, what is it? It's a one-day event, 3 games, Swiss round-robin style, so winner versus winners, etc., etc. My 3 games, I mean, wow, it was fantastic. First game was against a gentleman called Lewis. He's a Tyranid player who was running flying units and not the usual 4 flying hive tyrants for a change, which was interesting to see. It's actually more of a ground-based army. He was running the 2 formations, the one where he got the Endless Swarm, and I forget the other one now off the top of my head. But the benefit he did have was, I mean, I had a Hellhammer. I mean, that thing excels at removing units from the game, and it was awesome. But the problem is that every time I'd get rid of a unit, he then rolled to see if it came back, and on a 4+ it was, and it was horrible, quite frankly. I literally could not get rid of his army. It was shocking. In fact, I've never seen an army that can just keep coming back and, you know, removing gargoyles. I mean, I was getting rid of these things, and then they were just deep striking back into where they came from. It was horrible, and it was amazing at the same time. So lost that one, lost by a lot of points. You know, I think I didn't get any points for that game because I couldn't do any of my objectives just because I was on the defensive immediately, which was horrible. Apart from that, he's a good guy. He has his own Instagram. So we were taking lots of photos. We had a good chat. He's come from Cambridge way, so you know we were having good times from each other. So you know it was good fun. Second game was a guy called George. He was running a Guard Space Marine list. On the Guard side of things, he brought basically a super heavy. He brought a Shadow Sword, which, you know, Shadow Sword versus Hellhammer, you think every time, but because I had Pask on the board, he decided to go and focus his attention on getting rid of Pask and slaying the Warlord, which allowed me, luckily, to get rid of his Shadow Sword. And it ended up, I ended up losing because he just, again, came down to tactical objectives. He was just hammering me, and you know, he just ended up with a significant victory because of the points difference. You know, which is fine. There's nothing, you know, these things do happen. And yeah, it was a good game. It came down to me having a Manticore left with no missiles and a Flamer and him being immobilised, and my Hellhammer with 1 hull point left that was avoiding, you know, which was managing to make cover saves and everything to avoid getting hit, and it was fantastic. And I was just pinging off units. You know, he only had remnants of units left, so he was struggling at the end, but you know, it did turn out to be in his favour when the game did finally actually end. They finally got my Vendetta on. In the first game, sorry, I should have said, in the first game, my Vendetta would not turn up, and I think it could have changed the tide of battle if it had, because I would have had a flyer that can ping his flyers, and ideally his Titan. I've forgotten what it's called. Hive Lord, Swarm Lord. No, it's not Swarm Lord. I'm gonna have to capture in the name because I can't think of it now. But anyway, it was a fantastic and unusual game. that I had on the first one. The second one was more straightforward. It was very we had a good time, lots of back and forth banter. Again, he's a local, and so this is the game stores in Colchester. So I've travelled an hour to come to this event for the day. Luckily, I've used a lot of brownie points that I've saved up with my wife to in order for me to actually turn up, which is quite nice. Benefits. Then we had a nice lunch. They provide lunch for you as part of your ticket price, which was only 15 quid, which is very reasonable, especially for a one-day tournament, quite frankly. We then ended up on game 3, and I versed a gentleman called Tom. So this is after 2 losses. Me, him, and another two are in for contention for the coveted wooden spoon, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yes, I was still game for that wooden spoon. And so it turns out turn 1, I took first turn, and then luckily he didn't seize the initiative, and I went all out attack. He had a Knight Titan on the board. He had a unit of 5. He had a unit of 5 Paladins with Drago, and he used a unit of 5. I forget the ones who can. The ones who don't teleport, the other type, the standard marine looking ones. So yeah, again, I'll put the caption in what they're actually called, because I'm so professional of knowing my units, of course. We then basically I bloodied his nose quite badly turn 1, nearly destroying a whole unit to get rid of it, because I had Witch Hunter as one of my tactical objectives, and I was like, I want to get rid of it. We ended up fighting back. So at the end of turn 1, he managed because he took the formation for the Grey Knights. He managed to get one unit in with his Librarian. He then, which was his Warlord as well. He then proceeded to on his Psychic phase, because he deep striked behind my Hellhammer. He then, as chancing it, decided to use the Vortex of Doom. Luckily for him, he actually got it off, and he got a 6 on the roll, which removed it from the game. He slightly forgot about that when you destroy a super heavy, it then moves and blows up, and which it did, and took out one of his guys with him. So it wasn't a thing, but suddenly the game was in his swing. Got to the end of that turn. My next turn, so turn 2, I managed to swing things back. I got the Vendetta onto the table, which I was super happy about. I then proceeded to basically destroy his Knight Titan. The Vendetta came on, shot its 3 twin links. I'd already done 2 damage to it, so it's down to 4. I got another 2 pings on it. I then got 2 glances on it, and then I managed to get a penetrating hit, which then rolled a 6, so then caused an extra D3. Now, with that, obviously, his then Knight Titan's gone. So again, the board swung back in my favour. Again, Manticore did an amazing job for me that game. I managed to actually survive with all 4 turns, getting all 4 missiles off, doing severe damage on 2 turns. I got 3 missiles, on another one I got 2, and then the last one I got 1. Didn't manage to pull it back. The total points, accumulated, turned out to be 17 to 8 in the end. That's with Slayer the Warlord and Linebreaker, etc. added on. Again, amazing game. Tom, fantastic guy to game against. I was quite frankly shocked to see a Grey Knight player in that lower level. Obviously, it just shows these days that how good things are. Amazing to see that Tau, how good they are now. Absolutely astounding. I also did get a quick look at the Kaon and the Mortark rules. I can't remember, there was some very interesting guard formations I do remember in there, but I'll have to do a bit of research and maybe do a video on that with discussing that with Jack, as he's a fellow guard player and actually might be able to put me right on a few things. But apart from that, in terms of everything, I actually thought the day was amazing. I lost 3 games. I'm a bit out of practice, quite frankly. I only get to really do Warhammer now and again. I enjoy sitting down and painting, and it's it's a nice relaxing method. Unfortunately, I don't get that many games in because having a young son, you don't get time these days, and it's shocking. I was talking to quite a few guys at the spot, and they're in the same boat as me. They tend to only get to come down to tournaments. They may get the occasional once a month down for the games night, etc. But it's hard all round. You can't always do what you want to do. Family does come first. But anyway, I gotta say, I had a great time. Even though I lost 3 games, I've still got to play 3 games of Warhammer. I got to meet fellow like minds. Oh, shame that none of the other lads from the studio could come, so I could do an interview with them as well. But I promise I will end up going to a couple next year, and we'll do a proper full-on video log for the day, as well as interview, possibly. I did do a video of all the painted armies, so I'll put that up as a separate video, possibly with some commentary. I'm not sure yet. I don't know how I'm going to do that. As you can see from the video that I have been playing, these are sort of the clips from our match with bits and bobs of these are sort of video clips of all the matches I played. Hopefully I've actually managed to do this properly and put turn 1, etc., and all the random bits of information I want in, because I know how professional I can be with these things. But yeah, apart from that, I had a great time, and so did everyone else. And yeah, definitely recommend 40k Gaming if you are sort of over the Colchester way, or even if you live, I live in Hertfordshire, so it's not, I'm an hour away sort of thing. There were lads who were travelling an hour and a half away for these events. I got talking to Andy. He says last time that there are quite a few teams from London. He said it's a really popular thing just for one day Warhammer, and I agree, it is. The fact is that yes, going to a 2-day tournament or a campaign is amazing, but to be honest, not many of us have the time. Whereas a 1-day thing, we can pull our brownie points and sort of use it and say, look, babes, I want to go away for the day. If I do all this the day before or the day after, can I go? And most wives or partners will agree to that sort of thing, which is lovely. So anyway, the next major event is at the end of February at 40k Gaming. It's called Ultimate Commander. I'm not sure on the rule set yet, but yeah, as I understand, it's a 2-day event. They do lots of variety of games. The terrain plays a factor, weather conditions play a factor. You start off as a group in sort of a group matching, and then you go into sort of a knockout phase. But those who are in the knockout, those who get knocked out, can still play in a different, separate little tournament. So that's something I'm considering going to. I need to see, as I said, I want to see if any of the lads from the studio fancy going along with me. It'll be very interesting to do, but it's a 2-day event, so I might have to be able to bribe the wife with, I don't know, a spa day weekend or something. But I'm going to have to come up with something to get that tournament, I think. But anyway, to leave it there, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoy all the footage I got. Again, if you'd like to see more, comment below. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for any future video updates, so you don't need to be always waiting on Facebook. And yeah, guys, have a nice evening, and remember to keep wargaming. Enjoy yourselves. Bye bye.